Guys, it is that time of the month. A bunch of comics have just released, and of course, War of the Bounty Hunters issue number 5 does not disappoint. In fact, after all this kerfuffle with the Han Solo frozen carbonite body, we definitely got the conclusion that was expected. I mean, in Return of the Jedi, we clearly see Han Solo hung at the wall of Jabba's palace. We all thought that since Boba Fett got him in Empire Strikes Back, he delivered it to Jabba without a problem. Of course, War of the Bounty Hunters, the Darth Vader comic series, and the Star Wars comic series have showed us that it wasn't the case. In fact, it was very complicated for Boba Fett to get Han Solo back again. And this comic issue shows exactly how Boba Fett did that. Since we last saw them, Vader left Han Solo's frozen body inside his shuttle to be delivered to the Executor while he chased Luke Skywalker with his TIE Advanced. Of course, Boku the Hutt and the Hutts in general had a different idea. They went straight for the shuttle before it could reach the Executor. They got the shuttle with magnetic clamps, and Boku was much more than pleased. In fact, it wasn't just Boku inside the war barge of the Hutt Council. It was the entirety of the Council as well, operating outside of the jurisdiction of Jabba the Hutt, who was the head of the Council. Now, Admiral Piet and the Empire went full throttle. They wanted to not only save the shuttle and get Han Solo on board, but save themselves, as they knew that if Darth Vader were to be back and not see Han Solo aboard, then everybody's heads would roll. They even informed Darth Vader of this, and he was not too pleased. At the same time, Leia was trying to communicate with Luke too, telling him that they don't have Han yet. In fact, at this point, it was close to impossible. Leia told Luke that they can't fight the Hutts and the Empire altogether. Their engines were not working properly too, so it was basically a suicide mission. While everybody was fighting, Boba Fett was sneakingly coming in. Inside Slave 1, Boba is together with Valance, who has joined Boba for this joint mission to get Han Solo, although he doesn't trust him completely yet, and that's of course very justifiable, as Boba Fett looks out for his own. And now Valance is even more afraid, since the Imperials have figured out how to free the shuttle from the Hutts, and now Vader's shuttle is making its way to the Super Star Destroyer Executor. Valance was panicking, but for Boba, there was always an option. While Vader's shuttle was retrieved from the Hutts, Piet, in the midst of battle, received a distress code from Boba Fett trying to get inside the Executor. Piet simply wrote this off as one of Vader's machinations, since Vader in Empire Strikes Back was seen boarding these bounty hunters to in fact recruit them for his own mission. Knowing this, Piet simply let Boba Fett board the Executor, not knowing what Boba was up to. Valance could not believe it, but Boba told him there's always a way. But getting on that ship was easy. Finding Solo and getting him back out, that'll be the trick, so stay sharp. I hate that I have to trust you, says Valance. We still have the same goal. We both want Solo off that ship. That makes it simple. You don't have to like it, Valance. You just have to do it. As without a sweat, Boba Fett simply enters the Executor. The worst part is now Leia, Chewie, and Lando had to find a way to get aboard the Executor as well, which was almost impossible, seeing that they're not bounty hunters like Boba Fett. They do not have the access codes, and they can practically be identified as rebels. In fact, the sheer fact that they were not blown to smithereens is because the Empire was occupied with the Hutts at this moment. Boba and Valance simply land and walk past everybody who is trying to get to their TIE fighters to fight the Hutts. Valance still could not believe it. On their journey, a K2 droid walks behind them, grabs Boba Fett, and just before he is about to snap Boba's neck, it is Valance who saves the life of Boba. And in return, of course, the treacherous Boba Fett tells him that his services are no longer required. The time has come for him to walk alone. He throws a thermal grenade at him, blows him to smithereens, and it is sad to see the conclusion to Valance, or what I think is the conclusion. I'm sure he will heal up, but as of right now, Valance is left shredded to tiny parts, as Boba is now on his way to finally get his ultimate prize. Leia's chances seemed completely abysmal, until it is Kira who comes to the rescue. Once she contacts the Millennium Falcon and Lando, now Lando knows that they can count on her. When Leia asks why, well, Lando now has to explain that the thing is, back in the day, she and Han, they were what? Says Leia. She is baffled to learn that Han and Kira, back in the day when they were young, they were lovers. They were destined to be together until they were not. With the help of Kira, the Millennium Falcon boards the Executor. Leia is baffled. You're an Imperial officer. Why are you helping us? Await the dawn, says the officer, telling us at this moment that Crimson Dawn has infiltrated basically every single faction they could, even the Empire. Now Leia and the gang have infiltrated Han's holdout, and they go to shoot their way in. This is our moment, says Leia. This is our time. May the Force be with us. In a miraculous way, they go on to shoot their way inside and blast everybody down. I don't believe it, says Leia. You're really here. I almost gave up hope, Han. I'm so sorry. While Lando is trying to free Han, there's a voice behind them. No, you won't. As a rocket is approaching exactly that sector, it seems crimson and red, so you might be aware of where it's coming from the Crimson Dawn, but now Boba takes over. Get away from my property, says Boba to Leia and Chewie. But before anybody could touch Han, the projectile hits the side of the Executor, erupts, and gets an opening to Han's chambers. Everybody's down. Leia is panicking as the block is sliding outside. Leia yells out Han as she reaches out with her hand, but it is too late. Han's body is now floating outside. Lando is trying to hold Leia back, but Boba Fett was not going to quit. Using his jetpack, he goes outside, searching for Han's body, and finally he gets it. He uses his grappling hook to catch him, and while the heavy carbonite frozen body does make a splash inside the ocean, Han is finally pulled out by the mighty Boba Fett, who not only got him, but now goes for the Hutt who had put a bounty on his head. After all it was said and done, Boba went straight for Tatooine, the palace of Jabba the Hutt. I never doubted you, Boba Fett, says Jabba. You always finish the job. Thank you for bringing me this wonderful prize. It looks like it wasn't easy. How many people did you have to kill to get Solo back? Enough. You put a bounty on me, Jabba. I've already cancelled the contract, says Jabba. You understand, Boba. The galaxy knew I had first claim on Solo. I needed it known that defying me brings consequences. It was not personal. It never is, says Boba. Wasn't sure if I'd be able to collect from you. After people attacked the Imperials on Jakara, figured they'd be after you next. No, the Hutt Council acted alone, says Jabba. I have no idea why they did such a foolish thing, but they paid the price. Just like me, Palpatine takes the long view. I'll be fine. Now Boba has simple words for Jabba. The Hutt's thing is personal. Let's get back to business. I brought you Han Solo. I can take him back. If you want to keep him, says Boba, pay me. This is the final word from Boba Fett, and we know that Jabba does not want to break that good faith between Boba and Jabba that is still remaining. It is slim, but it is still there. We again see that Boba is to his word. When he goes for something, he goes for the jugular, and he does not quit until he finishes his job. With this, War of the Bounty Hunters is officially over, but it is just the beginning. As this comic page tells us, it is the first installment of an epic trilogy that will span the Star Wars galaxy. Coming soon, the second chapter will begin, and that will be amazing to watch. Crimson Reign. That series will begin very shortly, and in 2022, the epic conclusion, The Hidden Empire. Of course, all of these comic series will be brought to yours truly's channel. Bessie got you covered. Subscribe to Star Wars Comics for everything Star Wars related and much, much more. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.